70 years ago, 6 million of our people were murdered in the darkest hour of our history. To paraphrase Kohelet, there was a time for everything under the sun, a time to be silent and a time to speak, a time to refrain and a time to learn, a time to remember and a time to forget. Now is the time to remember, to learn, and to speak. And tonight, 70 years on, we launch a worldwide project of remembrance and study, which commences today with day one, and then globally throughout 2015, as different countries fit into their worldwide schedules. I encourage all of us to be involved for the sake of the past, the present, and the future. But this project doesn't begin tonight in 2015. It begins in 1985. Rabbi Shapiro from Kiryat Sanz attended in Theresienstadt concentration camp a commemoration for the 40th anniversary of the end of the Holocaust. He was invited as an orphan of the Shoah. His family were wiped out in the Holocaust. And as he was asked to light a candle, two thoughts struck him. The first was, could anything positive be taken from this Holocaust, from such a tragedy? But secondly, and more worryingly, he could remember the dark years. How would his children remember? How would his grandchildren remember? He went back and went to Yad Vashem and asked Yad Vashem for the names of 30 children who were the same age as children he was teaching in his yeshiva school. He gave those names to the 30 children in his class and said to them, "These names you hold, they are your age. They have your hopes, your dreams. They died in the Holocaust. Take their names and learn in their memory." It was this simple but beautiful idea that allowed me to embark on the project 50 days for 50 years when working for UJS back in 1995. In the room tonight, there are people who helped me on that journey way back then. It's an honor and a pleasure to see them 20 years later, and especially to David Kaplan, who has been there literally from the start. In those days, 5,000 Jewish students across the UK were given the name of a student who died in the Holocaust and asked to learn in their memory, to remember the past, to build the future. And they received a pocketbook of 50 essays written by rabbis, scholars, and educators, and they learned one a day for 50 days. And then 10 years ago in 2005, the project, run through Tribe, reached even greater audiences, about 100,000 worldwide, receiving a book of essays and once again a memorial card. Across the United Kingdom, South Africa, Australia, Canada, Israel, and USA, we're engaged in a global project to remember the past, to build the future. Another 10 years have now passed. The idea created in 1985 is as relevant today as it was back then. In 1985, they remembered 30. In 1995, 5,000. 10 years ago, 100,000. From today, we hope to remember millions. With the advent of social media over the last 10 years, we can provide global interaction through Twitter and Facebook. When I wrote these words a week ago, I didn't realize what that meant. Over the last few days, as we've launching across shuls and schools across UK, Facebook and Twitter have been alive with stories, with ideas, with comments. It's beautiful and powerful to see. Our Interactive 7 Days website, supported by the Goodman family, at the heart of the project, will enhance your connection to the concepts and ideas you are learning and discussing. As the Chief Rabbi said, to look a bit further into it. There are videos, further learning experiences each day of the project. And there is a Kindle edition as well as an app. This truly is a 21st century project. But there are other differences as well. As we've heard tonight, the world is unfortunately different from 10 years ago. With extremism rising across Europe and the Middle East, and a return to the world's oldest hatred, it is time to remind ourselves about the end result of fanatical anti-Semitism and to steel ourselves to be involved in combating the delegitimization of our land and of our people. But the other message of the 70 Days Project is engagement with our heritage, to remind ourselves what being Jewish is all about, and how what many have tried to destroy for millennia, 70 years ago and today, we continue to build. The new book contains 70 essays, question ideas and stories in different themes, 7 different themes, providing an entry point to religion and our people. When I look back today and how much work has gone in over the last year, there are so many people to thank. Firstly, to the Ziff family, to Min and Suzanne Goodman, and to Leon and Susan Noe. Thank you for believing in the project and the potential it had and still has to inspire and educate. To Lily and all the survivors who are the heroes of our community, how they have managed to come out of the horror and be positive and build is inspiration to all of us every day of our lives. And to the wonderful 70 Days team, our editorial team, Rabbi Aubrey Hirsch and Naomi Cowan, Richard Marcus and the marketing team, Roman Van Zetta, Dean and Acharon Chaviv, the project director, who's given so much to make sure it all got done, Matty Fruman. Thank you to all of them. But there's one thing also different about 10 years ago. When we started planning this project, must have been about 9-10 months ago in terms of getting down to the real heart of the project, a member of our marketing team, Richard Marcus, made a remarkable discovery that in a very small way captures the magnitude and the horror of the Holocaust. 70 days. How long is 70 days? 70 days is 1,680 hours. How many minutes is that? That's 100,800 minutes. How many seconds are there in 70 days? There are 6 million seconds in 70 days. Every second of the project is precious. Every second represents a victim. We have on our website, has been going since yesterday, Motzei Shabbos, when day 1 began, Jewishly at nightfall. It started at 0. It will count up to 6 million at the end of the project on Seder night. To realize, as the chief rabbi said, every single day, every second is precious, to make sure we are using these 70 days to build a future. So for those 70 days, I urge us all to get involved, not just for a Jewish life that never had the chance, but also for us. As you heard from our wonderful representatives of Tribe, Jews in 2015 who are the guardians of our 3,000-year-old heritage. So be a part of one of the most ambitious and inspiring projects ever attempted in the Jewish world. And starting today, for 70 days, we all have the chance to remember a past that no longer is, but in their memory, in those same 70 days, we have a chance to help build a future, the Jewish future, our future. Thank you very much. Those survivors were liberated by the British Armed Forces and by its chaplain, Reverend Leslie Hardman. Tonight, while launching this project here in the UK, we have to give thanks to this country, not only liberated the Jewish people in Belsen and throughout Europe, but it's been a home where we've been able to thrive as a community for hundreds of years. It's been a home which has allowed us to be proud Britons and proud Jews, and therefore please now stand and join me as we sing the national anthem. We have begun something remarkable. In some ways, by this unique act of remembering, we've begun a journey from grief to hope. We cannot bring the dead back to life, but if we live for what they lived for and what they died for, and learn in their memory, we can make their memory live on in us. We cannot change the past, but we can and we must change the future, demonstrating that Am Yisrael Chai, that the Jewish people truly does live. We launched last week in Yerushalayim, and then last night, tonight and tomorrow up and down the United Kingdom, in shuls, schools and campuses, then in New York, then in Canada, eventually across Europe, South Africa and Australia, creating an affirmation of Jewish life that is needed today more than ever. And nowhere is an affirmation of life more vivid than in the place we launched 70 days, Medinat Yisrael, the State of Israel, where the Jewish people has been reborn, as Lily told us, the place whose national anthem is Hatikva, which means the hope. A few moments ago, we heard Hatikva sung by voices from the past, from Bergen-Belsen, who was liberated 70 years ago. So let us end tonight at the launch here on day one of the 70 Days Project, with all of us adding our voice to theirs, so that their hope and ours may meet and take wing, to build a Jewish future without war, without hate or fear, build a Jewish people that is proud, knowledgeable and committed. So please join me to sing the national anthem of the State of Israel, the anthem of the Jewish people, our hope, Hatikva.
Kol od balevav ani ema nefesh Yehudi homiya ulfatem yizrach kadima ayn lezion Sophia.
For joining us tonight. May the 70 days be a blessing to those who weren't with us and to all of us. Am Yisrael Chai. Good night.